Got a whale of a tale to tell you, lads. A whale of a tale or two. That's right here on Mallard Matinee. We are talking about the Jules Verne classic turned Disney movie, 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, for Old School Month. Hey, film lovers, we're here. We're talking old school movies. This whole month is nothing but, well, I guess it's two old school movies. First one up is 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. It's my pick. I chose this movie. Yeah, we watched this from 1954. I believe 1954. I wrote it down in my book.
It's an old school one. Yeah, I did too.
Yeah,
1954.
I didn't write it down. Yeah,
1954. Yeah.
Yeah. Real old classic. But before we get too much into that, who do I have with me here?
You got Country Boy right here. This is a movie that it's kind of been on my list of like movies to wanting to watch for a while too. So what's nice about these Mallard Matinees that we're doing is we're kind of knocking up movies that I have on my list that I've already wanted to watch anyways, and then we get to discuss them afterwards, which is fun.
Yeah, and I'm LewisLightning, and you know what? I'll get into it. Usually, if we start these things off, we talk about what our experiences with this movie, like where do we first kind of come about it and everything. So for me, I didn't even know this thing existed for the longest time, this movie. I knew the story. I think most people have heard of 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, at least at our age. You've heard of it.
Yeah.
And a few years ago, like let's say like 6 years ago or something like that, I decided I wanted to read some classic books. Like I read Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. I have a bunch of H.G. Wells. I got Sherlock Holmes I'm going to read. But I also got 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea by Jules Verne.
Is that Doc Brown's sons? Did they write that? Future 3?
But yeah, so I read the book and everything. And then I still didn't know it was a movie until I saw this Disney video on my TV, and it was in the theme park. And they were showing these theme park performers singing the song that I kind of opened with here, that "What's a whale of a tale to tell you, lads," and everything. Like, wait a minute, why is Disney doing a song? And it said like 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. And then I found out from that yeah, it's a movie. And I was like, okay, well, since I read the book, I have to now watch the movie. So I put it on my list until I just watched it maybe 2 weeks ago.
And my first time watching it is just now, but I've only been aware of it because I've maybe seen like little snippets of it throughout the years. I might see like the part with the squid attacking a ship or something like that, and guys attacking it, or I might have seen just the look of the ship. Like I recognized the look of the ship before I'd actually seen this movie. And so I know you had read the book and you told me about it, and it was a movie that I'd heard about because I'd also watched some of the special features from the Pirates of the Caribbean movies, which they actually reference it a little bit, which I can understand because there are some connections that I would see between the Pirates of the Caribbean movies, which I'll get into probably, and this movie as well too. So knowing the Pirates of the Caribbean and knowing that they kind of took some references from there, I was more excited about watching this movie. So when he said he wanted to watch this movie for this month, I was like, damn right, I'm on board for sure.
I thought it came out of the blue when I brought it up for you. I was just like, oh, he's just gonna watch it because it's part of the thing. We watch each other's movies. But I was like, I didn't know you had any idea about it being a film. Like, I think you knew the book, but that was about it. Usually we go through the cast list. Do you have the cast list?
I do, yeah.
I left my phone in the other room.
For sure. So, Kirk Douglas is probably the biggest name that you're going to know. Ned Land. He's the fisherman, or this whale spear.
Harpoon man.
Harpooner, yeah. And he's a guy he's a big name. He's probably the biggest name, I think, in this cast list. I know he's from Spartacus. Yeah. And he's definitely a leading man looking guy. He's got the strong jaw, the cleft chin, the burly body.
He's like a roguish attitude too.
Yeah.
Like you see him in the beginning in this town, and he's got like a lady on each side.
Oh yeah.
He's
ladies man.
Probably I don't know. I would say prostitutes. I don't know if he was picking them up on his own. He could have. I don't know.
He could be a Gaston type. He's
for a Disney movie. We could go with that.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then. He gets into fights. He doesn't mind like the hard work and stuff. He lives for adventure in a way. Yeah. Interesting thing, in the book, he's Canadian.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and he's got that same, they tell he's got that same white and red striped shirt that he wears throughout the movie. It's kind of his thing.
Cool. And the next on the list I got is James Mason, who was Captain Nemo. The Nautilus is his boat.
Yeah.
And I like this guy. I liked his accent too. I thought he did a good job. He wasn't like too eccentric, too out there, and he was kind of he was a dick. He was a very stubborn mule of a man, but he's also a smart man, which I thought this guy played that really well. This actor.
Yeah, he feels completely different from the other characters. Like he feels like a man set aside somehow from like the rest of humanity, which is what the book is about too. And like he plays it well. Like he seems distant. He kind of gets along with the professor character in the movie, which is like the one person that it likes science as much as him, I guess is the best way to put it.
They both kind of inspire each other.
Yeah.
In certain ways.
So they get along, but otherwise he's a totally different beast from the rest of them. I do know. I would say the next person to acknowledge in the film is Peter Lorre.
Okay.
He's Conseil. Conseil. I was actually very excited to see Peter Lorre because, growing up, I used to watch all these cartoons, like it could be Disney or Looney Tunes or whatever, and they would do parodies a lot of the times. And Peter Lorre was a character that would get parodied so often in those things. But for me, it's like, I didn't know who these people were because they were like, 1940s and this is 1950s and stuff.
Yeah.
Like they had like Stan and Ollie, Stan, I can't think of his name now. Stanley Laurel. Stanley Laurel and Lauren Hardy. Yeah. I've seen them because my neighbors had them like on black and white, like VHS and stuff. So I knew some of these. I knew they were old school actors. But finally seeing Peter Lorre live action for the first time in a movie, I was like, okay, now I see who these parodies are about. Okay. And he plays it well. I mean, his character, even in the book, is like more minor. He does it well. I
think he's the most likable character.
Yeah.
He's basically is like the underling of like the professor. He does basically what the professor wants to do.
He's like an assistant.
Yeah. I wasn't sure, like the way he talked though. I almost thought he was like Igor or something. Like the way he reminded me of Igor from like Frankenstein or something. It's just the way he's like, yes, master. Yes. He doesn't say yes, master, but I could see him saying yes, master.
Well, apparently he's Hungarian, and that's like just his accent.
Yeah, and it definitely stood out for me, and I liked his character. And he definitely had more buggier eyes, I'd say too. So I thought he definitely is more of a certain character actor.
Oh yeah, yeah. So I was really glad to see him. But that's really about it.
The professor we can talk about a little bit too.
Professor.
Yeah, so Paul Lucas played Professor Pierre Aronnax. Another character. I like this character as well too. None of these characters I thought were bad. None of them I thought were like extraordinarily great or anything. But I think he did a really good job. I liked his character, and he was definitely enthralled with like Captain Nemo and his findings and the way he's living his life. He kind of wants to learn from him, and he's. Maybe a little too much. He's a little too into Captain Nemo's way of doing things.
I feel like he's, obviously he's a professor, but like he's also starts out at least as a man of morals. But the more he kind of spends time with the captain, he starts to get along with his philosophy that the world rejected us. We should only be men of science, and mankind has got all these hateful things that that they do. And they want to be like men separated from the rest of Earth.
Well, he's the most open-minded out of the three that get onto the ship, because even when they're like eating the food and stuff like that, he's telling them what they are. Like, oh yeah, this is like sea cucumbers, or this is seaweed, and this is, and he's like, oh yeah, it tastes good. And whereas the other two, Kirk Douglas and
Peter
Lorre's characters, they're like, ugh, they're like, no, they don't want to.
Like
or the milk,
yeah,
sperm whale milk.
Yeah,
yeah.
But yeah, that's it. Which is for the length of the movie, it's a pretty surprisingly small cast. Like there are some minor characters in the beginning when they're in like this kind of town. Like there's reporters, like journalists and stuff that are there.
Yeah.
But otherwise, that's about it. There's the military guy, I guess, who gets them in on the voyage in the first place. Mm-hmm. But in the first like 20 minutes, they're off that ship, and
maybe you could even say Nemo's first mate guy with like the receding hairline and.
He's weird.
He didn't have a lot to say, but he was always kind of like doing whatever Nemo wanted him to do, sort of thing.
So then I guess we'll just kind of get into the movie. Stage curtain pulls back. Yeah, in the beginning you see like the stage curtain and it pulls back.
Yeah.
And then there's just a book, and it's like, woo!
Classic Disney. You get a book again at the start of the movie.
Yeah. And then
it opens up and you start you get to read some of it too. And I wasn't reading at first. I was like, oh wait, shit, maybe this is important. It kind of gives you like the setup of like the year that is, like the 1860s.
Yeah, maybe about that.
Yeah.
But you see the boat a little bit in the beginning too, which gave me a lot of Godzilla vibes because it just goes like right below the water, and it's just like coming at them. which I'm interested in how they did some of that, because like, did they have like a pool? I know like Godzilla, they have like a big pool that they do a lot of their water scenes in like a studio a lot. But like, did they do any of that similar stuff for this movie?
Like, how many of it is like miniature work, and how many? I mean, how big of a boat did they really build for this, or sub, I should say?
And then, you know, the stuff in the town happens pretty quickly. They start in the town where the professor and Conseil, they wanted to do a trip to like find this whatever was attacking the ships out at sea.
Yeah, there's this legend of a sea creature.
Yeah, no one knows what it is, which we as the audience know it's a Nautilus. But their ship gets canceled, but the military is like, yeah, we'll put you on board. We're going to sail around the South Pacific for a bit looking for it. And they're on there for like a couple of months or whatever before they actually run into it. But that's also when we get to see the one song that's in this movie.
You know, and when this song came out, I was like, oh, I like this. This is a catchy tune. I thought it was going to be a musical, the whole movie. I thought we were going to get a lot more songs. Because I know it's a Disney movie. Maybe it's like Mary Poppins or something like that. We're going to get a whole bunch of different songs. But this is the one song that actually has lyrics, and you hear.
The melody comes back. Like, you'll hear it later on. Like, well, I think when they get to that island towards the end, and they're kind of just at first adventuring around, the song plays, just the melody, you hear it, but like no lyrics or anything, and that's just about it. That's like the one song they constantly come back to.
Well, yeah, and once in a while, like Ned will have like a guitar or something, or a hollowed out turtle shell that he made into a guitar, and he starts singing a couple of the words and stuff like that. But it's the one song that
mostly just to hide it, right? When they get to the Nautilus in the first place, because the boat they're in they see another ship that gets like destroyed by something. They don't know what at the time, and their ship goes to try and help, and they get attacked as well. Their ship is okay, but they get knocked into the water, and the ship kind of like clunks along. It's damaged, but it's still sailing, and they sail away, leaving Ned Land, the professor, and Conseil behind. And then they find the Nautilus there. And at first, like in the very beginning, like they get on board the Nautilus, and they don't know what it is or anything, and they're kind of like banging around. They find the entrance, they go inside, but like no one's there, and it's just like that initial thing, like, and they're not being quiet about it either. Like, hello, they're calling around, and it makes it seem like this ship should only have like 4 or 5 people handling it.
Almost abandoned, basically, the way it's
And it's not until later that they look out this kind of porthole, this big window out into the ocean underneath the water, that you get to see that all the men who are on board are doing some kind of expedition. I think they were burying. Looks like they were burying like a man, and that's kind of in the book.
Yeah. It was like almost like a coffin, like in the shape of a person. Yeah.
But there are people. Like later on, we see they do a dive as well with Conseil, the professor, and others. And there are men on the boat, so like I don't know why they just weren't paying attention here.
I don't know if they were told to just like hide until they come further into the ship or something.
Yeah. And then I think they have a meal with the professor when they first get, I guess, captured, if you want to call it, or rescued. It's hard to say what they are.
Well, rescued, I'd say it's rescued, because if they didn't stay on the boat, they'd be dead. Because at first, Nemo was trying to get them off the boat. He was saying, no, you guys don't belong here. Get off my ship. And they basically would have been out to sea, and they would have just died. But he brings them in. This professor reacted the way he wanted him to when he went out and sacrificed himself for his men, sort of thing.
Well, he knows each other too. Like the professor knows of Nemo at least. He knows his work and stuff, and that's kind of like he's interested, like for an intellectual pursuits for that reason. And then he's not sure about Ned Land and Conseil, and he puts like a little trial where they are gonna die. Like they put them out on the surface and they start putting the ship starts going down, and they're holding on to the fins. And he just wants to see, I guess, what the professor's going to do, if the professor would go with them and die or change his mind, which he kind of stays there. I think Nemo sees that as a challenge to try and change the professor's mind around.
So I'd say he did save them at the beginning, and then as he continues to keep them on his boat, then they're kind of prisoners throughout the rest of the movie.
But then like they have a meal, like after they finally decide to keep them, they have that meal, which they have all the seafood, everything's seafood or whatever. I don't think you could make they're like, this is like beef or lamb. And I don't think you could do that with seafood.
It's all about the spices you put on there.
I don't know. It's just like a different texture in general. Like
you just have a hate for all seafood. That's the problem.
I've never had whale or
exactly.
or I'm trying to think what else I haven't had that they brought there, but
Yeah, or whale milk.
yeah.
I've definitely had. Well, I mean, he has a cigar later on too, and he says, "Oh, this is delicious. What is this? Like cohiba or something?" He's like, yeah, it's seaweed. He's like, "No, I don't think that'd be good. I've eaten seaweed, and it is just pure salty grossness.
Yeah.
So I don't know if smoking one would be any better."
But as I was talking before about the crew was outside, like they're in diving suits, like the heavy diving suits, not like scuba gear, but like heavy weighted, like their boots are metal things as well, and they're walking on the surface of the ocean, like not the ground, the bottom of the ocean. That's what I'm looking for. Yeah. And that is all live action.
It's cool. Yeah, it's really good camera work for the 1950s especially.
And it's not like something you can tell. It's not like they put like a thin tank, like a piece of glass with water between two panes to make it look like they're underwater. Like no, they're actually underwater, and they interact with creatures and stuff too.
Yeah,
like
they're grabbing a sea turtle. They're like hanging on to it.
And they're pulling. I feel bad with sea turtle.
I know, you can tell it just wants to get away from them.
But there's that net. They have this net, and it's just full of lobsters. Yeah. And I was like, I kind of like went back and slow-mo'd it. And like, those are real lobsters. It's not like just a bunch of plastic ones or something. Like, no, those are real lobsters. Like, you would not get away with this kind of stuff. Today.
No, you wouldn't. People would be complaining about
maybe the sea lion. The sea lion's the one thing.
You know, fun thing about the sea lion, it's on the ship. I read about the sea lion. Apparently, like all the cast members, they had like some treats in their pockets. So anytime they had a scene with the sea lion and did something good, they would pull out some treats and give it to the sea lion. So that was cute. So obviously, the sea lion was actually treated quite well.
Yeah. What else did I have? Several underwater.
I also like when they were underwater there, and Ned and Concierge they go to that one like the ship that's underground. Yeah. And you see them like walking around, and you can see them like falling over once in a while. You can tell they're not very sure-footed. Like this is, I don't know how many takes they must have had to do this because they fall over each other quite a bit, and then they're picking up this treasure. And there's no way they could pick up that treasure, by the way, just by themselves like this. That thing was like probably this big, and it's just stuffed with like jewels and like gold, and like there's no way you could hold that in one hand, even though it's underwater.
That's actually what I have in my book written too. Like that same scene. Conseil and Ned Land look at each other, but you can tell those scenes were not done underwater because there's no bubbles or anything, but you can see their faces. That's the point of it. You can see their faces clearly.
You're aware of who is interacting
and how they're emoting and stuff. Yeah. But like there's a pipe organ in the ship too that the captain plays and stuff, which that's not in the book. I was gonna say that's not in the book. I don't think the seal's in the book either. It's been a while since I read it, but yeah, like that was kind of Phantom of the Opera to me, and I was like, I don't know. Well,
that's one of the things that I feel like they might have borrowed from the Pirates of the Caribbean as well too, when they have Davy Jones and he has his pipe organ, and apparently, like a fun fact, that pipe organ that is in the Nautilus, I don't know if it currently is or if it was at one point, but they use it in the Haunted Mansion. It's actually in the ballroom. That's the pipe organ they use for that.
I never got to go there. It was closed down one time I went to Disneyland.
It's pretty cool, right?
But I would say also, like, maybe the halfway point, I didn't really look at the time, but halfway through that movie, it feels like the main character changes from the professor to Ned Land.
Yeah.
Which is kind of weird, because, like, you think going into it, for those first, 45 minutes or whatever it is of the movie, that we're following the professor, it's his story, whatever, and Ned Land was just along for the ride. And then you're like, no, now Ned Land, who's kind of, I don't say sabotaging, but trying to go like against Nemo and find a way off. He's trying to like, he's throwing out like these bottles and stuff that he's collected.
Well, but even Conseil at this point is on Ned's side. Like he wants to get off too. Like he knows that the professor has kind of been, I don't know if he's been brainwashed or whatever you want, manipulated, by Nemo. So he's trying to get them out of here. He doesn't want to be doing this anymore.
Yeah.
And like you said, like the notes that they had, or when he's drinking the bottles of like the stuff that are in there, he's like, those are priceless. He's telling them, and he's like, oh, I swallowed the one, whatever the hell was in that fucking drink.
Just it's like preserved animals and alcohol, and he's just usually taking the animals out and drinking the alcohol. Yeah. But he misses one of them at least. This movie, it feels very, very focused on one storyline. Like it doesn't vary much, so you're just kind of sitting there along for the ride for a while. Like it's so focused, but there's not much else going on. Which I don't know if that makes it slightly less interesting,
I'll
boring.
say halfway through, I was getting a little bored of it, a little bit. I was on for the ride, like you said, maybe the first 40-45 minutes. And then I was like, it's the same characters that we see a lot of the interior of the ship, and not a lot of. I mean, it was cool being underwater. And then there was one scene where they actually do go ashore, Lev and Conseil, which it livened the story up a little bit more at that point.
Yeah, they go to shore. They convince Nemo to let them go ashore, and they're just supposed to get samples or whatever is what they say.
Yeah.
But Ned Land's got another idea. He's just going to run off. Conseil doesn't really know Ned's plan, but he's like, yeah.
Yeah, he never knows what Ned's really going to do, but he goes along for the ride anyway.
But Ned goes out thinking he's going to just run off. And the captain told him there's cannibals, and he's like, the captain's just lying just so we come back, so we don't.
Yeah.
He runs there, and at first he thinks he's okay. He's like going to drink some water and stuff, and he sees all these like
heads on
pikes and stuff.
Yeah.
And they show us like there's actually cannibals watching them, and then it turns into like Indiana Jones and Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yeah.
Like he starts running back to the boat. They'll have a little
dinghy. Yeah, the little dinghy that they rode in there.
But like the cannibals are chasing them, and they're like throwing spears and stuff. Yeah. And then they actually get like catamarans, and they start chasing the dinghy out to the boat. Yeah. So
another thing, I'll tie it back into Pirates again. They definitely did that, and Dead Man's Chest as well too. When they go to the one island, there's cannibals there, and Jack Sparrow is running away from the cannibals on the beach, and they're chasing after him. So I think they did it on purpose. They did a lot of borrowing from this movie, which is good. It was a good moment of the movie.
I feel like Indiana Jones must have borrowed something. That feels too similar to me. I wish I knew for certain. But I feel like that.
Yeah, I just don't think they were cannibals in Indiana Jones.
Yeah. And then so we see with the cannibals, because once they get to the boat, they go inside and they don't even close the door. They leave the door open, and they're like letting the cannibals kind of do what they want, look around, and as they come in,
they're tossing spears
in.
They
start, and they turn on this electrical, like the whole ship is electrified.
Yeah.
And the cannibals don't like being electrocuted, obviously. Then they leave. They just leave. So, and shortly after that, when they start going, sailing again, they get attacked by the giant squid, which I think that's probably one of the most recognizable parts of the movie.
Yeah, that is the moment that I was looking forward to the most in the movie, because I knew of it. That was the one scene that I knew of for sure for this movie. The rest of it, I wasn't quite sure what to expect, but that I was like, it's coming. There's going to be a giant squid.
Yeah. There's no real. They do have giant squid in the book, but it's never that threatening. They deal with it pretty easily.
Okay.
This was much more of a life or death. Nemo gets involved and gets attacked.
Yeah.
But the effect is pretty easy to figure out. That squid.
Yeah.
They have a model. Obviously, the squid was on. Maybe they put some bait on it. I don't know. But then they do it in reverse. That's how they did it. I'm pretty sure.
Well, I don't know if you watch, the squid moves backwards, because technically a squid should be moving head first.
Yeah.
But it's moving tentacles first. So I mean, it still looks good. But
looks good, yeah. And I do like how it looks on in live action.
Yeah, the actual big version of it outside the ship.
Even the tentacle,
it's raining and stuff that. It gives the atmosphere of it being a really scary moment.
The tentacle that comes in the door looks pretty good and everything. Everything looks really good for the time. In general, not even for the time. It's in general. It's
even when Nemo was grabbed by one and he's being held up by it, it doesn't look like he's just floating in the air. And it kind of looks like it's holding him.
And the face and stuff of it looks fairly good.
The beak chomping. Yeah.
So they fight it off because Nemo's pissed off at Ned and Conseil for doing all this stuff, but then they kind of earn a little reprieve from him because Ned's the one that gets the killing blow. I don't know if it's killed, but at least the one that
chases it off. Yeah.
He's the one that kind of saves Captain Nemo and everything.
Yeah, and both of them even question why did you save me? He's like, I don't know why I saved you.
I shouldn't have.
Yeah, and he's like, if it was you, I wouldn't have saved you, because they both are kind of at each other's throats, at each other's head. They butt heads a lot.
Yeah, and that just reminds me, because we're talking about Ned again, and you brought up the treasure before. There's a whole room full of treasure on the ship. 10 times more than they had in that chest.
Yeah.
And he's like, you want treasure? We got a whole room of it. We just use it for ballast.
Yeah.
And Ned's obsessed with it for a time. That little turtle shell guitar.
Yeah, he plunks some in there.
Putting some in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. In the book, here when they're fighting the squid and stuff, even some of the other animals, they're only ever using harpoons. They have axes and stuff.
Yeah.
In the book, they say they have guns that shoot
Well,
like electricity.
There was. Did you see in the one scene underwater when they like shot at a shark? It was almost like a laser gun that they had.
Okay.
It did. I wasn't sure what they shot. If it was a harpoon or not, but their guns looked kind of like laser guns, like almost like I don't know, like steampunk sort of gun.
I do remember that. I didn't make any notes of it, but here when they started using like axes and stuff, like on the book they had like guns that shot electricity and stuff, which like this is a little bit stepped down, but I don't know how you'd do that back in the 1954 to make this as a movie, make electrical shooting guns.
I wasn't sure if it was a laser or what it was, but I just saw a straight shot of something, and the gun looked futuristic, I guess, for underwater pistol.
Yeah. And then that island that they have. So they talk about this island, like Nemo's been going back to this island where he built the ship in the first place. That's kind of his whole deal. But Ned found out, they find like a map in his captain's quarters that shows where they're heading and everything. So he's been telling all the ships by throwing out bottles with little notes in them, giving the coordinates. Yeah. So when they finally get to Volcania, which I think that was a dumb name, just like...
the Volcano Island.
All the ships are there. But like, Jules Verne would never use a name like that, Volcania. Like, first of all, he was French, Jules Verne, so I don't know if he'd be anything like that. And then there's like a big... Because they get there, and there's ships waiting for them, like gunships all around the island. But as a submarine, they go underneath and they come up inside the volcano. Like, it must be a dormant volcano to do that.
Yeah, exactly.
And they come up, and just as like a landing party is coming over the edge of the volcano into the crater to find their fortress, we're assuming, or we assume Nemo has all his documents and scientific notes and everything in there.
Yeah, all of his history of works.
So there's a big gunfight as the Nautilus comes up, and they're going to blow it up. They can't let their technology fall into these other guys' hands.
Exactly.
And there's a big gunfight, but I was just like, geez, all this shooting, and I think Nemo gets hit once, and that was about it.
They didn't even like try to help him really. Like, he comes onto the ship, they're like, "Oh, we gotta heal you, we're gonna bandage you up," or anything like that. No, it was just he just continued to take the ship and drive it out.
At first, I was like, "Did they not notice him?" Because like the first mate is standing behind him, and he's got like shot in the back, and you can see all this blood, but they're all just staring out the front porthole or whatever. And it's like no one's doing anything. And
I know. I was like, your captain is shot. You think somebody would try to help him in that sense? Yeah,
and then they just decide they're gonna like blow up with it. They're gonna. How are they gonna die? Were they just gonna sink to the bottom? I'm trying to remember what they were gonna do.
I believe so. I think that's what they were planning to do.
Like Captain Nemo was like, "Yeah, we're just gonna take everyone with us, including Conseil, Ned Land, and the professor. They're all gonna go down." The crew is all on board with it. They're like, "Yeah," just like nod solemnly. Ned doesn't want it. They put him in the brig, but he managed to get out because they hit some rocks and it punctures a hole.
Yeah.
And he manages to like open some doors and stuff and get out. But yeah, he fights the first mate, which is a fairly long fight. But you think, like, where the hell is everyone else? Like, yeah, sure, they don't mind dying and stuff, but they're not going to do anything now. Like, they're going to fight this guy to stop it all.
I have a question. You read the book. So when the professor and Nemo went to this one island, and it was about like these slaves basically doing digging for explosive material. Yeah, is what they were doing. Is that in the book at all? Is this island about like, and like the fact that Nemo said that he was from this slave group, and all of his other crewmates were a part of it as well too?
I don't remember that specifically happening, but there's references to Nemo having a past with some sordid men. And like he got his money from people he didn't really like and stuff, and now they're coming back for him. But I don't remember there being like an island that they go and see with slave labor and all this bad stuff going on.
That was probably around the time that it was probably dragging for me a little bit, is when they went to this island and he kind of gave his backstory a little bit about being one of these slavers, or one of these slaves. And yeah, I don't know. I was wondering if it was actually part of the book or not.
Yeah, the book does say like he stole his technology and money to fund his building of the Nautilus and stuff, but they're basically going back to, they're coming for him and he's going back to stop them. But the book kind of ends in the same way where Ned Land, the professor, and Conseil, they kind of leave the ship watching it sink kind of below the surface. So it ends the same way, and that is just the ending. Like, you just see this boat go down. Yeah. And how did they sit? Like, they went off in the dinghy? I remember.
Yeah. And that was it.
That was it.
That was it. That was literally.
You don't see what happens
off the dinghy, and that was the ending. Yeah.
Yeah. So is there any other notes you wanted to? put in there.
I had I'll say something about like the lighting of this movie. I really enjoyed. Like, it was very lit, very well. It was like it was very colorful. Even when they were like in the old west, kind of like the people's shirts they were wearing was a lot more colorful. The lighting was even when they were indoors, and even if it was supposed to be like a darker scene, you could still see very good features. Everybody's features. It was really well done especially for a 1954 movie. You wouldn't think that it would have that good of I guess lighting and coloring.
Like, I always felt it was a little bit dim, but the contrast was there that you could still see light and dark and stuff. So yeah, I know that as well.
And then I also this is something that I found out is like when they filmed this and they did like the underwater scenes. Apparently, that was they did that in the Bahamas in the same exact location as they did the movie they did before. It was like the 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, but it was like there was no sound. I guess what's that one called?
Silent film.
Silent film. Yeah, they did a silent film of 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, and back like the early 1900s, and apparently they did use the same location with that. That was kind of a neat fun fact.
Yeah. So then, I mean, I do know that they started like a show on Disney Plus called, is it Nautilus?
No, so Disney Plus, it's not Disney Plus. AMC has a show called The Nautilus, which I'm a little interested in, but I don't know how far I'd get into it. I think this is good for me, and maybe a little bit more Finding Nemo, Captain Nemo stuff I'd be interested in. But
I like Captain Nemo. Like, I mean, it's a totally different movie, but in The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, I liked him there a lot.
And I was wondering, is he supposed to be more like that, or is he supposed to be more like this, just a regular kind of guy?
Like, he's definitely more like, looks more like
he's like
Middle Eastern or something like that.
Yeah.
They just say he is like, you know, of an exotic ethnicity or like skin, like his skin tone is darker and stuff. But I don't think they ever specifically say in the book what he is. Like, he doesn't. He's like, I'm a man of no nation or whatever, blah blah blah. Okay. But yeah, he's supposed to be kind of like this mysterious guy where you don't know everything exactly about him. Like, he's not just some white guy, but you don't know where he's from. Mm-hmm. But yeah, he's got that air of mystery about him and stuff. But I guess we can get into the good, the bad, and the ugly. Yeah. I'll lead off with my good.
Sure.
I thought the underwater dive suits scenes were very impressive. Like, that, to do that, especially in 1954, was done well. I mean, sure, like you said, they tumble around at times.
Yeah.
And they're definitely having some trouble, like, moving, but you would.
But it's also realistic in that way.
Yeah. And also, on my good, I had the squid as well. I thought the squid looked good. Those were my two good points.
My good was, I mentioned it, it was actually the lighting and the coloration of the movie. I thought it was done really well. Like I said, even scenes that are supposed to be dark, you could still make everything out. It was visually very easy to read.
Yeah. Yeah, you want to start with the bad?
Yeah, so the bad, it drags in the middle. The movie, it's a little longer than I think it needs to be. I don't know if it needed to have the whole scene where they went to the island and showed the professor about the slaves and all that stuff. I mean, it kind of gives you a reason for why Nemo is going after these boats and he's always attacking them, blowing them up. But it kind of slowed the movie down, and I feel like it was maybe 20 minutes too long.
Yeah. I'm pretty much the same thing. Like, we mentioned it before, and I said, like, it felt very focused and linear, and it kind of drags, because there's nothing outside of that main story thread. Mm-hmm. Like, it's always focused on the professor and Nemo, and then, I mean, the professor steps out, but then it's just Nemo and Ned Land and their stuff, and it's just laser focused on their ideologies, butting heads, or their thoughts and stuff. But there's nothing like, I don't know, like, you'd think when Conseil and Ned Land went to the little island to do like exploratory stuff, there might be a little fun story there, but they go there and they come right back, and you're back on the ship. Like, there's nothing really expansive. Like, we don't meet any of the other crew members who have any personality.
No, exactly. And like, nowadays, if they were making this movie, they probably would have showed us the people on land that maybe find the bottles, and they see like people like searching for the Nautilus sort of thing.
Yeah.
We would probably have that as well, have like a secondary story. Yeah, have like maybe some police or like the Coast Guard or whatever you want to call them. And that would probably be another secondary story that you could have going on at the same time.
Yeah. For the ugly, like, these aren't necessarily bad things, but like, can be distracting, or just things that, I don't know, took your attention away, took you out of the movie. It's just anything really, like, I don't know. For me, I found that both Professor and Nemo, so the Professor is supposed to be a French character and Nemo is some exotic character, but they have like accents, and for me, sometimes it was hard to understand them. Like they might be saying something, and I was just like, "What?" Like I had captions on too, so I saw, but I'm just like, they'll talk low or something, and I can't quite get all of that along with the accents. So that bugged me. There was a couple of times where I was just like, okay, you guys should have either spoke clearer or louder or something. I just
read the book. Oh,
I did.
And then my ugly eye, it doesn't have to be anything that's actually negative. It doesn't have to be. It could be something that just kind of stands out. It could be kind of quirky, something that is an oddity of the movie sort of thing. So my oddity, it was just the way that the squid moved in reverse towards I like the way that the squid looked, and the ship too. I thought they looked cool, and just the way that it moved in reverse going towards the ship. That's not the way a squid's gonna move. It's gonna go head first. So it was just one little thing. I had a question though. The ship itself. What did you think about it? I know it's not like it is in the book. What would you prefer? Would you prefer the book look like where it's just like a straight cigar sort of shape or something?
Like I've seen a lot of artwork of like Jules Verne stuff, and it always does have like that steampunk fantasy type look to it, which this is kind of. It almost like a little bit fishy too.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know why you'd have like the glowing eyes.
Yeah, that seemed a little over the top, but
it's so hard to say it. That I really like the one from League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Yeah, the blade.
Looks like a big freaking sword kind of cutting through the water. It's just so awesome. This one's all right for the time. It's probably more true to the source material, but I mean, I like the other one better.
I'll say what I like about this one is the windows. So you get to see a lot of the underwaters. And I heard that, and according to the book, there isn't like any windows in. Like, it's just basically a submarine.
I think they do have like a couple like. It's probably smaller
portholes.
Yeah, it's porthole.
I do like they had like big open windows.
Yeah.
There was one room they had a window that was kind of would open up like that. It was cool. It was a cool visual, and you could also always see underwater. I like that about the ship.
And before we kind of get into our scoring for this movie ourselves, we like to look at what other people have said. Critics.
Online reviews.
Yeah, critics and just audience people online, what they have said about the movie in the past. I usually look at the actual professional critics, the paid critics. CountryBoy looks at the fans on Letterboxd. I mean,
people like us.
You go elsewhere, but I mean, usually do Letterboxd.
It's all Letterboxd. That's all I read.
Yeah. So this one was kind of hard. I went to Metacritic to look this up. The overall score it has on Metacritic, just to get it out there, is 83 out of 100 for the critic reviews.
Okay.
But that is only based on 6 critic reviews.
Oh, okay.
So it's kind of a small sample size to get you these numbers here. And I included the highest and lowest in this. So from TV Guide magazine, the marvelous sets with their quaint blend of Victorian and futuristic elements are worth the price of admission alone. The direction is sharp, as are the special effects. All the major performances are fun, but James Mason, that's Captain Nemo, is a standout. Dare we say it, it's fun for the entire family. A perfect score of 100 out of 100. That was TV Guide magazine, which I think I said already. But
I'm also curious, like, when some of these reviews would have come out. Like, if it would have come out,
Yeah.
like, the year the movie came out, or is it, like, a recent review that
that's kind of, I wish I would have gone back and looked it up and seen when was this review. Because, like, yeah, obviously different perspective between now and 1955, 54 and stuff. But, like, fun for the whole family. I mean, if I had, like, I don't know, you're taking a kid to a Disney movie now, they could be like, 7 years old or something. Like you took your kid, and he's only 5.
Yeah.
And like, would they like this? I was like, I don't know.
I think he'd be bored by most of it.
Yeah, they'd probably be bored. So fun for the whole family. That's a bit of a stretch. I don't agree with that one, but maybe times were different.
Yeah.
It was either this or play with a can and kick the can. And
yeah, exactly. Hoop down the street.
the AV Club. Most vitally, the filmmakers never let the audience lose track of how cool it would be to cruise the bottom of the ocean in an elegantly appointed superboat. The secret of good escapist fare, as Disney's crew knew, is giving the audience someplace remarkable to escape to. A score of 83 out of 100. And I gotta agree, like, I would like to go into one of those suits and kind of mess around.
Yeah, the old school deep dive suits.
Yeah, and mess around there. That looks like kind of fun. Like, it is kind of enchanting and stuff to see these underwater worlds, and I'd like to go there. Yeah, that'd be kind of cool.
It would be.
And finally, I think this is the lowest score. Like I said, I think it says here I got the highest and lowest.
Okay.
Empire. Mason's urbane genius and Douglas's dimpled two-fistedness and stripy sailor shirt beef up a floppy script.
Okay.
80 out of 100.
Oh, it's still 80 though.
Yeah, it's still high.
Doing a floppy script, he says. Okay.
Which I kind of agree with. Like, I feel like the script, like, you could jazz it up a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, there is some action with the squid attack, with the cannibals, but it just feels so light. Like, nothing's really big.
If they punched up with a few more musical numbers, I think that actually would have made it a little more interesting. I honestly I was really into Whale of a Tale. I was like, this is a good jazzy tune. And then that dude with the deep voice at the end. That's awesome. That's a classic like Disney song.
When we finish this, I'll show you that thing later. The Disney theme park guys singing, because they do it really good. Like, that'd be cool to see Disney theme parks.
Yeah.
But let's hear your
like I said, Letterboxd. I'm on Letterboxd. I like to see other people's takes on what they think of movies that I watch as well too. I usually start with the lowest to the highest, so this is gonna be a low score here. A film devoid of kindness and integrity that delights in the mistreatment of turtles and various sea creatures. No film's creation worth treating an animal like that. And they gave it a half star. Is what this one was.
Obviously, that's someone that feels very strongly about animal welfare.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't think you should be doing that with them either. But I mean, it was a different time. I could acknowledge that.
You don't take that so much into consideration to make it like a half star.
Like, maybe if you really care, like a whole star. But I mean, that was like a couple of scenes.
Like, obviously, that was the only thing that bothered you, it seems like, because you didn't mention anything else. So how can you take out everything else that's in the movie? Everything else sucked too? I don't know.
The stuff with animals underwater is only about like 10-15% of the movie.
Yeah, it's very small.
Unless you can count the sea lion, which then
you count them like eating the sea life too, even though who knows what
Probably,
they're actually eating. So this is another review. The Nautilus sets are total knockouts. I was expecting the 50s effect to be hokey, but even the underwater miniature stuff doesn't look bad. What a great adventure, but -1 star for that nonsense with the sea turtles. I'm not usually one to harp on how animals are treated in film. That whole sequence is a little hard to watch, to be honest. So they gave it a 3 out of 5. Again, but at least they like other things though. So that one, I understand the reasoning behind some of their hatred.
And the sets were pretty good. Yeah.
And the sets were, like even the miniatures, like they said. And this is the last review I'll read here. All my life, my eyes have been appetite for this. Sorry, I read. All my life, my eyes have been appetite for this kind of adventure. Spellbinding and outlandish. Richard Fleischer's best. Disney's best. Kirk's best. #1 adventure film of all time. This person said they gave it a 5. So they're a fan, obviously. 5 out of 5.
Richard Fleischer. When you said that, was Charles Fleischer does the voice of Roger Rabbit, right?
Yeah, I don't know if they're related.
I gotta look that up now.
But I found out that Richard Fleischer is apparently the son of, I think it was Max Fleischer, who was apparently like the biggest rival of Disney at the time.
Okay.
He told us, hey, do you know who I am? And he's like, yeah, I know who you are. And then he even talked to like Max Fleischer, his dad. He said, yeah, you'd be a fool to get anybody else but my son to do it. And so he got his son to direct this movie.
I thought he was gonna be mad that his son betrayed him or something to do that.
No, I was surprised. It was actually they were actually very kind with each other.
Cordial,
Yeah, even though they're like enemies.
And I do want to say one thing, like, I think it's kind of for the book and the movie or whatever, but a lot of people get the wrong impression about what 20,000 Leagues Into the Sea means. Like, in the book and stuff, it's how far they traveled underwater. It's not that they went that far down, which for the longest time, that's what I thought.
I learned that too, reading up about this movie. I was like, 20,000 Leagues, apparently they circled the Earth over 2 times or something.
Yeah, that's what it's about.
Yeah.
It's just...
I didn't know what a league was until I read about it.
Yeah, it's not really here or there for the movie, but just if you're thinking of that, it's like, oh, okay, we're not going super deep, like center of the earth kind of thing.
Yeah.
So then we'll go with the scores. I'll lead off on mine. Like I said, I think it's a fairly enjoyable film. Definitely, I think you had to be of its time to truly get into it and stuff, because now it seems a little bit more dull. I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. I feel like you probably could... If they made it like today, it would be amped up and more energetic and dynamic and stuff. But this just seems very like you're telling a story around like a fireplace or something.
I like how like we said, like the visuals were still decent for how old it is.
Yeah.
You think about that, like it's all it's all practical effects, which is something you don't really see nowadays, and I appreciate that. But my review, it's kind of hard when you go back to something so old. I tried to get into that mindset of like how things would have been back then, and like how would I maybe have reviewed it then, or how am I reviewing now compared to, And so I don't want to be like harsh because this is so old and dated, and even the way they act, maybe they're not cruel to women and all that stuff. I don't want to think about that because I'm trying to think of how I would enjoy this movie if I saw it for the first time without any negativity around it. So my review is gonna be a bit higher than yours. I'm probably gonna say about a 7.5. It's I did enjoy this movie quite a bit. It was just the lull in the middle of the movie.
Yeah. I find that I can usually get in with like an older movie and stuff, and I don't feel like that usually takes me out unless it's just really, really like cheesy and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know. This one didn't give me that vibe. It's the story, like the sets, the look of it was all fine. I just felt the story was lacking in it.
Was the book better or the movie better?
I think they're both the same. The book has long sections where the professor just starts narrating for like pages of all the specific, like he's going into Latin about all the different varieties of fish for like, I'm talking literally like a page of this going on and on. And they're like, oh, okay, we'll get through, a couple pages of this. Then you go to like next chapter and he starts doing the same thing again. It's like, oh my God. Like you're just listening, like, sure, just say you saw whales and trout or whatever you saw.
We saw 15 different variety of fish this year.
It just goes on too long. But so that was our review on 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. A classic? We got to call it a classic.
I'd say it's a classic, absolutely. Old school.
Old school month. So we'll have another old school movie coming up in a few weeks. You can check out the review on that. Do you want to let them know what it's going to be?
It's a little newer than this one. Okay, so it's not as old school, but it's still before the two of us were born. We're going Planet of the Apes.
Charlton Heston.
The OG one, OG.
And where can they find you at?
You can find me all over the place. Like I said, on Letterboxd. I'm on Twitch, on TikTok, and all over the place as CountryBoy_9, but I'm also known as CountryBoy9er, where I unbox a whole bunch of different stuff on YouTube. And just have a lot of fun.
And you can find me on Twitch and YouTube as LewisLightning. On Twitch, I'm probably going to still be playing Ghost of Yotai when this comes up. It feels like it's going to take that long for me to finish. And then if you go to YouTube, it got some older stuff from like the PS3 era. Like I think the original Red Dead Redemption. We played Resistance 3 on there and stuff. So you can find me on there as well. And then both of us are on a third channel called Wasted Opinions. It's 2 words. There's us and then a third guy, Muskeg. We talk about movies there as well. Not as often. Yeah. We're covering the MCU.
Mostly there. Marvel, yeah.
Yeah. We cover a few other things too.
Yeah.
But we also talk about video games. We talk about TV shows, wrestling, food, whatever catches our fancy. Like if you're guys like us, you'll probably like that. And we do different things. It's not always reviews. Sometimes it's a game. We've done a trivia game. We've done drafts.
Yeah.
We make lists of like our favorite 90s movies, 80s movies, stuff like that.
Those are the best ones. All the lists.
Yeah. But you can check us out there. And for now, I guess we're going to be going down, submerging. Till next time, see ya.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we don't even have music. It's just
no, we don't.
Quack,
Just
quack.
quack quack.